Hey everyone, today we're diving into a lesser-known secret to uncover why rubber balls have become the new darlings within hospitals. Inside her heart, it felt like 1,000 urgent dramas were unfolding, making her heart scream. Alright, let's take a good look at these colors. She brought over a cup of coffee, a work of art itself, and presented it with flair. Look, she's more involved than anyone else, becoming a living embodiment of participation. The reactions were simply hilarious. At first, Catherine almost laughed out loud, but soon she was in tears from her own antics. From that moment, she secretly started to believe in Pat's seemingly extraterrestrial, absurd wishes. That night, Pat sneaked them into the hospital for a thrilling adventure. Next to a dying old man, they threw in a bizarre water gun, shocking everyone. The balloon pops sounded like fireworks, creating a spectacular symphony in the ward. The other patients in the room were all cracking up, which made the on-duty nurse curious to peek in. But she was stopped by the head nurse, who had already endorsed Pat's laughter therapy. The old lady was beaming with gratitude, thanking them for fulfilling her African safari dream. Although it was achieved in such a special way, her heart was absolutely blossomed. At this point, Pat noticed an old lady nearby and asked what her humorous dream was. The old lady said she loved pinching pasta in the pot as a child and dreamt of jumping into a pasta bowl. Seeing the sparkle in her grandmother's eyes, Catherine understood Pat's aim to ignite life. This also deepened her understanding of patients' conditions, the secret to Pat's success. On the way back, Pat expressed his feelings to Catherine again, and this time she didn't refuse outright. She simply smiled and said good night, but in her mind, she was calculating her next move. However, even Pat had someone who gave her a headache, and that was the patient in room 305. This patient had a fiery temper, and the nurses were tiptoeing in and out like they were in a minefield. Pat tried to sing to win him over, but instead, he felt mocked. Talk about laughing until it hurts. But in Pat's dictionary, give up doesn't exist. For the next few days, he continued to explore the wonders of medicine through fun, until he was caught in the act once again by the dean, making the situation very awkward. And even though Pat's explanations were coherent and logical, the dean remained ruthless in dealing with the matter. The dean warned him that if he wanted to be a clown, he should hit the circus. This hospital only needed professional doctors. He strictly ordered Pat not to enter the hospital again before his junior internship, or he'd be handed a resignation letter. Thus, the dean questioned Pat's exam results, claiming someone reported him for cheating. Pat had a sudden realization at that moment, comprehending that his roommate had actually stabbed him in the back. This made him extremely furious, and without hesitation, he stormed back to the dormitory, furiously confronting his buddy about why he had done such a betraying thing. His buddy hailed from a family of renowned doctors and faced enormous expectations, hence his excitement. To be deemed an excellent doctor by his parents, he studied medical cases day and night, like a determined warrior. Seeing Pat goof off daily yet rank second in class drove him to the brink. Ultimately, the two parted ways unhappily, and Pat, feeling helpless, went to Truman to vent, only to find his buddy backing the dean. After all, it was a hospital where patients undergoing immense suffering were inching closer to the brink of death. But Pat rebutted, leaving Truman uncertain about right and wrong, advising her to tone it down a notch. But if she could be low-key, she wouldn't be the one and only Pat. The next day, she boldly wore an angel costume to room 305. Her angelic presence broke the cold barrier of doctor-patient relationships, bringing a hint of warmth to the patient. Finally, she laughed heartily, bravely facing the time that lay ahead. Meanwhile, the dean was still fixated on Pat's unconventional methods. What a narrow-minded guy. After class, the dean announced a big medical lecture next week. What a party! The doctors had to present themselves comfortably among the experts. Obviously, it was a trap. By the end of the lecture, the dean looked as colourful as a rainbow from anger, while the experts shared a knowing smile, enjoying the show. The dean was so furious he almost bit his tongue, promptly announcing Pat's expulsion, snuffing out her hopes of becoming a doctor. Pat helplessly sought the principal's help, who agreed to assist her, recognizing her excellent grades and the impact of her therapy. But to save face for the dean, the principal ultimately mandated that she could only enter the hospital under special circumstances. But before long, disaster struck. The patient in room 305 was nearing the end, asking to hear the song one more time. This time, Pat choked and couldn't sing the cheerful melody anymore. The helplessness of life left him powerless. As he walked out of the ward, heavy-hearted, he saw a mother crying her eyes out, tugging at his heartstrings. It turned out that the recent accident had cruelly taken her husband and son away, while her daughter was still in the ICU, with her fate hanging in the balance. Truly an absolutely heartbreaking tragedy.